Welcome back to another beautiful day here in northern New Jersey. Raining, sleeting, ice, snow. You never know what you're going to get here. And we're waiting on some parts for the old two-door turbo. So we figured we got a couple questions on the comments about this truck here. So we figured we'll give you a little overview of my daily driver slash tow rig. So let's dive in. So I bought this truck about a year ago, last October, a little over a year, and it is a 2017 F350, and it has the 6.7 Powerstroke. The neat thing about this truck is it's a regular cab, 8-foot bed, which you really don't see a lot of in the newer style Powerstrokes. A lot of these are the 6.2 gas engine, and a lot of people, nobody really wants a regular cab anymore. I like them. As you can see, I'm a sucker for the regular cabs. Yeah, you can't have all your boys with you, but it's all right. It gets us where we need to go. So I've had a little love-hate relationship with this truck. When I got it, coming from an 85 Ford, it's a big upgrade to me, but there's a couple things that have bothered me along the way. So when I got this truck, it had 20,000 miles. We believe it was a repo. It was repossessed from somebody who I guess couldn't afford it, or whatever the case was. So I found it at a dealership near me, and we went and took a look at it, and the price was right, so we picked it up. So let's dive into one of the main issues we had. After about a month of owning this thing, one day I go to start it up and I completely lose my heat. And I'm playing with the controls, trying to fix everything, and I couldn't figure it out. So I turned to my brother, who is a wizard of the internet, researching, and he did a little research and found out what was going on here.
Now, the biggest pain in the butt is that there's not a lot of information online about these newer aluminum duty trucks. There's a lot of information about the older 6.7s, but I did a lot of research, couldn't find anything about these particular trucks, but I found a lot of information about the, 2011 to 2016 trucks, and I figured out that there's a heater control module. It's got to do with like the electronic blend doors and everything. Over on the passenger side, I figured out the fuse for it, pulled the fuse out, let it sit for 60 seconds, put it back in. Voila, my brother had heat again. Now, I don't think he's ever had that issue since, or if he has, he's just played with the dials a few times and it goes back.
So another gripe I have is, you see here we have ourselves a block heater. This is not a standard part of the 6.7 package. This is an option, and if any of you guys are from this area, it's nice and chilly in the winter here, and it's really nice to have one of those. You get a little warmer start out of it. I mean, this thing still takes about 20 minutes to come up to temperature. It does not have the supplemental heater, which also another gripe I have, but that's what you get for buying a used truck. And there's a couple other things that bother me. One of the main things is, as you can see, these cab lights on the roof, one of them actually leaked. Show you here. You can't really see the stain anymore, but it actually leaked. Get out of there. And it was dripping out of here, dripping out of the switches. One day I came into my truck and there's a big puddle right on top of my center console here, which, another thing. My 1985 Ford, those are original cab lights and they don't leak a drop. Over 30 years old. This thing, 2 years old, they leak. So I did some research. There's a couple of YouTube videos about this. And what I did to fix it temporarily is there's one screw in each one of the, I'll show you here. There's one screw that holds these down. Goes right in there. And that screw has a little round O-ring on it that seals it. It was a little out of place. It must have been over tightened or something, or just from the weather, who knows. So I fixed where the washer sat in there and sealed it up. But another thing is, these are the updated cab lights, which I purchased for this truck. They have a thicker seal on here, and I purchased all new hardware, and they come with the little rubber seal. So this is another quick, easy little fix for you guys that have your leaking factory cab lights. I know a lot of the aftermarket ones leak, but I think that's from improper install. So another thing that bothered me. So my most recent issue with this truck is this piece right here. This is the charge pipe on the cold side coming out of the intercooler. As you can see, one day I started my truck and we heard a nice little whistle coming out as you're driving. You only hear it under load, when it's making boost. But as you can see, there was a nice split in the hose. What I did for a temporary solution, because Ford wants $250, $220 for this pipe. It's cheaper online, but the dealer by me wanted that much. So what we demised was we stuck a piece of 2.5-inch intercooler piping in here. You can't really see it, but there's gold pipe in there. Maybe you can see in there. And we put some clamps on. We bead rolled 2 nice beads on the pipe, put some clamps on, and it worked for a couple weeks while I ordered a pipe. Let me show you guys what I ordered. There it is, the beautiful blue hunk of junk. So I purchased this online for a 2017 to 18 Ford F350, 6.7, whatever, they're all the same. Now, my first issue was getting this air temperature sensor in. We actually ended up cracking the factory one because the machining on the inside, where if you guys have changed those before, you push it in and it's a 90-degree or probably
twist
less than
lock.
that. It's a quarter turn lock, twist lock. I'll show you here. Whatever, you guys get the point. I couldn't get it to fit in there properly. I actually ended up having to buy a new sensor and shaving down the wedges that lock it in, because when you try to put it in, it doesn't fit. You can see on the sensor where it marks it up, where there's something in the way, a burr, I'm not sure what, but you cannot physically get in there. So that's how we remedied that problem. But there's another problem. This pipe doesn't fit right. It hits the power steering reservoir and we could not get it back into the slot it needs to go in. As you can see right here, it touches and it's too short. It does not go all the way onto the intercooler. That's another issue I don't like. So you spend money on a nice, supposed to bolt in, bolt down, whatever you want to call it, part, and that doesn't fit right. So we're going to be returning that. That's a disgrace. Now that we've shown you the issues we've had with this truck, let's talk about the things I like about it, and a couple of the things we've done. So as you guys know, this is a peasant truck. If you guys are on the 16, 17 and up Powerstroke on Facebook, you know what I'm talking about. This grill was originally black. So you can buy this. It's just a chrome cover that goes on, clicks right in, really easy to put on. So I did that because I hate the way the black looks, because I got chrome bumpers. So we did that. Another thing I did was, I don't know if you can see them, I changed the headlights to LED bulbs instead of the halogen original ones. Let me tell you, cramping the rear to take these headlights out, but also not the end of the world. You got to pull the front grille out, but it's not bad. I like the way they look better, and they're much brighter than the factory. Next thing we did here was we put a 2.5-inch Ready Lift leveling kit on, because let me tell you, being an F350, this back was about 3 to 4 inches higher than the front, and I'm not about that Cali lean. So we took care of that. We got ourselves some Method 17 by 8.5 rims and some nice Procom 37 12.5s to round her off. And that's about it with the modifications. I tinted the windows. I have a tonneau cover, but other than that, the truck is pretty much bone stock. And let me tell you, these things have a lot of power, bone stock. I'm very happy with it. You know, I guess I should have expected it's going to be a typical Ford. It's going to have its problems, but the manufacturing is a bit disappointing. But that's just the way these trucks go. So tune in next week, guys, and maybe we'll be putting a new turbo on this. Maybe we'll be putting a new turbo on the Jeep. Maybe a harmonic balancer. Maybe the Cummins in the Ford. Who knows? But tune in next week.